Some of the worst executive hires I've ever seen were unanimous decisions. Everyone agreed. The board loved the candidate. 12 months later, the company was slower, more political, quietly off track. Not because anyone was incompetent, not because anyone acted in bad faith, but because something subtle went wrong. I'd ask you to consider this. What if consensus isn't safety? What if consensus is actually risk? Because boards don't usually fail from lack of intelligence. They fail from misaligned incentives that hide behind agreement. And here's the important part. No one is wrong. They're just optimizing for different things. Let me tell you about a founder I worked with. I'll anonymize this. Series B company, real momentum, strong board, pressure rising as it always does. They were hiring a senior executive, critical role, and one candidate quickly became the board's favorite. Impressive resume, brand name companies, polished answers, the kind of candidate everyone feels comfortable defending. You know what happened? The founder felt uneasy. Nothing specifically he could point to. No obvious red flags. Just a quiet sense that something didn't line up. But when every board member is aligned, unease is hard to argue. From first principles, here's the fundamental truth. Boards and founders optimize for different outcomes. Boards optimize for defensibility. Founders optimize for velocity. Boards want decisions they can explain. Founders need decisions that move the company. They're not the same thing. Those are not the same incentive systems. And when you pretend they are, the company pays the tax. I'd ask you to consider this. Who lives with the decision every day? Who feels the cost when execution slows? Boards don't feel execution drag in the same way founders do. They feel it quarterly. Founders feel it daily. In this case, the executive didn't fail loudly. That's the most dangerous kind. They slowed everything quietly. Meetings multiplied, decisions drifted upward, teams waited instead of acting. No crisis, no explosion, just erosion. And that's why these hires are so dangerous. Because they don't trigger alarms. They normalize mediocrity under the cover of professionalism. I've seen this pattern repeat again and again. The board's favorite candidate is often optimized for comfort, not consequence. Let's break this down. From first principles, when a board interviews a candidate, what are they actually evaluating? Pattern familiarity, narrative coherence, reduced downside optics. Can this person represent us well? Can we defend this hire if something goes wrong? Those are rational questions, but they're not execution questions. Founders are asking something very different. Can this person make decisions without incomplete information? Can they act without consensus? Can they create clarity where none exists? That gap is where companies stall. Not because anyone is wrong, because no one made the difference explicit. Here's what I've noticed over more than 20 years. The more a board loves a candidate, before success is clearly defined, the higher the execution risk after the hire. Because agreement without clarity feels good in the moment and costs you later. This isn't about boards being bad. Strong boards are invaluable, but boards should pressure clarity. They should not substitute judgment. Here's a simple reframe you can use immediately. Before discussing candidates, define success, not abstract success, 12-month success. What decisions must this role make faster than the founder can? What trade-offs will they own? What must they disagree on without becoming political? If you can't answer those questions, you're not evaluating candidates. You're comparing resumes. And resumes don't run companies. Judgment does. Velocity does. Here's the pattern beneath all of this. Execution fit matters more than resume fit. Judgment under ambiguity matters more than interview performance. Velocity impact matters more than consensus comfort. So I'd ask you this. Are you hiring to reassure your board or to move the company forward? The best CEOs learn how to do both, but they never confuse one for the other. Because alignment isn't a soft issue, it's the operating system. And when that system is misconfigured, everything downstream slows quietly, expensively. That's the real risk.